Folks, it's Hobby Nightmares time. Hope you're having an excellent week. Hope it's all going well for you. Today we got an eclectic mix of different stories sent in to me because we're getting more and more busy, which is what I like to see. I always like to stay a few stories ahead of where we are. If you like what I'm doing, the Patreon is down below, and also the subscribe button is down below, so you want to help the channel grow, there it is. Apart from that, if you like models, and of course you do because you're here, and you're going to buy any pretty soon, head over to Composite Games. In the link down below, you will find a promo code, Northern Exile. Enter it in for 5% off at checkout when you leave to get your models. They also do international shipping now, and all of the instructions to do so are on the channel. They are on the community part of our YouTube channel, so there you go. Anyway, let's do some Hobby Nightmares, shall we? Oh, it's a big one today. Bloodraven93 is back, and he says, "Hi North, hope all is well with you." It is, thank you. Bloodraven93 here again, and I have a nightmare story for you. The Legend of the Sulking Neckbeard. Alright, well, we'll jump in. One day, when I was about 16, I went into my local Games Workshop store looking for a game. An older guy who was about 30-ish, we'll call him Dave. It's always Dave. I apologise, Daves out there. Oh, you can't be a Dave or a Mike in the hobby these days. I swear the channel has ruined it for you. I'm sorry. We'll call him Dave. Approaches me and asks if I want a game and what army I play. I happily say yes, and that I play Khorne Berserkers and Thousand Sons. This was back in 5th edition, when they were in the same codex, and you could take both in the same army. He proceeds to go into a long tirade about how they can't fight alongside each other, even if it's not against the rules, finishing with, "Whatever, it'll be an easy victory because I play Space Wolves." Okay, well this is going to lean into the theme of today. And the theme of today is, should you feel guilt for the army you play? Long answer, well, short answer is no. Long answer we'll get into later. That probably should have been the first warning sign. Yeah, no crap. I don't know how he could complain when he brought out Marnius Calgar and a Baal Predator as part of a Space Wolves army. But whatever. I didn't have many friends at this point in the hobby, and was just happy to play against somebody. Dude, I couldn't hold the snark in if somebody did that to me. I couldn't hold the snark in. It's like, hang on a minute. Why is Marnius Calgar part of the Space Wolves then? You know, are we not going to go into that? You know, are we not going to... No? Not going to discuss? Okay, fine. The rest of the army was made up of Logan Grimnar, 2 Venerable Dreadnoughts, 20 Bloodclaws, and Land Raiders. My army had 30 Khorne Berserkers, 20,000 Sons, 6 Obliterators, Kharn the Betrayer, and a Tzeentch Demon Prince. Looking back, I'm pretty sure he was using way more points than me, because Land Raiders are not cheap, but I stupidly didn't raise the issue at the time. Yeah, the amount of stories I get that are like this, where they're like, oh yeah, I kind of saw something that was wrong, but then I didn't look into it. Like, cheaters will carry on cheating unless you call them out. Like, they're not going to, like, stop suddenly and go, you know what, sorry, stop the game, I'm cheating, I'm sorry, I need to, like, reset the board. Not going to do that, are they? So, you know. He goes on to belittle my army, saying, "It's bad enough they're allied, but you could have painted them better. It'll feel good to blow this mess off the board." Dude, mate. I know they weren't great, but I defended myself and said, well, it's the best I can do. He snickers under his breath and says, well, if that's your best, you should probably quit now. Are you trying to make me angry? Are you trying to make me angry? This is beyond redemption level behaviour right here. Quite a lot in the hobby, like we get stories that are, you know, kind of bad. You know, kind of like this guy needs to learn some manners or needs to learn, you know, this guy is literally, let me just check the timing here. Yeah, he's literally a fucking douche, right? This is just a douche. There is no teaching somebody like this to be a better person. Because even if this story turns around and you beat him, he's just going to get worse than the next person. This is the kind of person, right? I would only ostracize like level 10 dickheads from the hobby. Anybody else is not beyond redemption. You are not beyond redemption. If you're on level 1 to 9, you are not beyond redemption. This is a level 10 dickhead. Get him in the fucking sea and get him out the hobby. Level 10. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. I try to move things along and say I'm putting my berserkers into my rhinos, to which he continues to try and put me down by saying they must be cowards, and it's probably for the best, as he doesn't have to look at the ugly paint job until they disembark. Finally, after hearing all the bullshit, the game starts. Please be cathartic, please tell me you beat him. You may be wondering why I'm even bothering to play this neckbeard when he's being such a prick. After all, it's not the end of the world if I don't get a game. I could just say I'm not playing and your attitude stinks. Well, this was back when Thousand Suns bolters could one-shot a marine and berserkers had 4 attacks each on the charge. And apart from my current Imperial Fists and Blood Ravens, I knew this army like the back of my hand and fully believed I could win. Unlike him, I didn't gloat about how good I thought my army was and tried to be as friendly as possible. Sure enough, when I get the first turn, my Thousand Suns one-shot his Blood Claws, leaving only 2 in each remaining squad. My 2 squads of Obliterators roll a d6 to see what weapon they could use and get the las cannons, which they use to destroy Dave's Bowel Predator. So the Obliterators just like spawn las cannons out their arse like they normally do and get rid of the Predator. Lovely. His turn starts and he makes a good counter. His Land Raider kills 2 of my Obliterators, and his 2 Dreadnoughts blow up one of my Rhinos, killing 3 of the Berserkers. Then, my turn 2 starts, and that's where the fun begins. My remaining Obliterators roll and get to use the las cannons again, and all 4 destroy one of his Dreadnoughts. The Berserkers disembark, 10 charge 2 Blood Claws, and the other 17 proceed to charge his Calgar, to which they kill Calgar on the 2 Blood Claws in 1 round of combat. Yeah, not surprising. Dave is now left with 2 Blood Claws, 1 Dreadnought, Logan Grimnot, and a Land Raider. He still has a pretty strong force, but he proceeds to go on a rant about how it's bullshit that I killed so much, that an army that badly painted could dare harm his glorious brother wolves, yes. He then decides to storm off mid-game. Of course he does, yeah. Of course he does. Can't take it on the chin like a man, so he storms out. Yeah, you could tell that behaviour's coming a mile away. I'm left there confused as to what the hell just happened. Why are you confused? Even if you're like a teenager, you could not have not seen this behaviour coming. Right? This is level 10 dickhead. Like, this is what he's going to do. Like, bro, I thought you said it'd be easy. He comes back after 30 minutes and proceeds to sit outside the store on the ground, eating a bucket of KFC while sulking. I can just about hear him mumbling rather loudly something like, "Fucking bullshit, stupid kid. Kill my babies, will you, freaking cheeky brat." I'm trying so hard at this point not to burst out laughing at a grown man having a toddler fit. In the end, I walked over after about an hour for this guy to get his ass off the ground and get back to our game, please. He never did. Instead, he decided to take his last KFC chicken strip, throw it into the store, and walk off. Thankfully, his throwing arm wasn't as good as he thought it was and didn't hit my models, but I was a bit disappointed, not just at his attitude, but the fact he wasted a perfectly good bit of chicken. Wasting KFC is the true crime here. The manager then turns to Dave sternly and says, "Look man, I've had enough. I can put up with your attitude as long as you're not harming anyone, but I'm not putting up with you vandalising my store and throwing your waste everywhere. This kid," as in me, and you are an adult. You need to start setting a better example for people like him. I don't want you to ever come back to my store. You can either finish your game or pack up your stuff. Either way, this is the last time you'll be in the store. You're banned." Wow. Wow. Okay. Dave then sulks into the store like a toddler who'd just been told off and packed up his stuff. Not before, however, picking up my Khan the Betrayer model and licking it, leaving it covered in neckbeard saliva and throwing it to the ground. Okay, this is getting a bit hard to believe. We're getting beyond the point of believability here, you know. If this happened, then I'm very, very sorry for you. Right, I'm really, really sorry. After which he said, "Now it looks better than that crummy paint job you did." Okay. I'm going to say, if you beat this guy up and then get a round of applause, I'm going to call bullshit here. Okay? I completely snapped. Back then, I was a corporal in the Air Cadets. And had a pretty strong drill voice. I proceeded to give him the biggest bitch slap a 16-year-old could do, put my corporal head on, and then the best drill voice I ever said, I said the following: You do not do that to anybody's models, do you understand? You're going to apologise to me, the manager, and you're going to buy me a replacement, or I'm going to take that chicken you threw and shove it so far up your arse, you'll be shitting chicken feathers out for a week. A certain somebody outside clearly heard the commotion inside the store. You'll never guess who. It was my commanding officer. Okay. He was an ex-RAF guy, built like a brick on steroids. Him and I had a strong relationship, and after hearing me having a go at somebody, he called my name, probably to reprimand me, and walked into the store and proceeded to ask who was bothering me. Okay. I didn't realise that my commanding officer and the manager were quite good friends, and served together in the RAF. Bloody small world. I told my CO what happened, and after I'd finished, the manager asked my CO if he could escort Dave out the store, but not before doing as he was told, and buy me a replacement. There is a cool ending to the story though. After the commotion, my CO asked to see what I was playing. I found out during that conversation and showing him my stuff that he also played 40K. He had an army of Grey Knights he had painted to look like Star Wars Death Troopers. Thankfully, I never saw Dave again, and I would occasionally play against my CO till I left the cadets and when I turned 18. All the best, North. Cheers. Okay, so if that story is true, then I'm very, very sorry that you had to go through it with that guy. It got a bit too backslappy towards the end there for me to believe that that's completely as it was. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Alright, so Warlord Cookie says, "Hi North, I wanted some advice from yourself. As someone who has had a lot of experience in this hobby and sits on the other side of the fence. You'll know what I mean in the next paragraph." Okay, cool. I love Space Wolves. Okay, I never thought okay, don't quote me on that. That is the story. That is Warlord Cookie saying that. I'm not saying that. I love Space Wolves. They are my first army. I joined the Great Plague so roughly 2 years ago, and I'm 27. So I was late getting into the hobby, I guess. I devoted quite a bit of my time and effort to slowly building roughly 5,000 points or so of my Space Wolves. I now also have Black Templars and Sisters of Battle, but my main focus is my Space Wolves. To put it bluntly, I'm at a loss at the moment. Every time I go into an event or game day at a hobby shop, or even play friends, every time I get nothing but people saying things about the army I play in a negative sense. This is not to include yourself or your channel. Well, feel free to. I do say negative things about Space Wolves and their players. I love the work you do. Long story short, it's getting to the point where I don't want to go to events, as I'm starting to think people dislike me because I've even gotten there just because of the army I play, and honestly, I'm starting to think of leaving the social and gaming side of the hobby. Am I being too sensitive? I wouldn't think of saying anything but nice things about something that someone has put a lot of time and effort into myself. I hope this reaches you and North, and keep up the amazing work. Well, it did reach me because somebody pointed it out as a really good thing to talk about on one of the Hobby Nightmares. This is indeed not a story, but it's still a nightmare of you like getting a bad time in the hobby. Look, as a Grey Knight player, I get this a lot as well, but not anywhere near as much as Space Wolves do. Okay, the problem with your army, mate, isn't your army. It's the players. That's the problem with your army. That's why you're getting so much blowback. The players of your army tend to be quite toxic. It just is what it is. I can count the I've faced Space Wolves dozens of times. Dozens and dozens of times. I can count the good experiences I've had with Space Wolf players on one hand. You know? Most of them have been pretty bad. That's not your fault. Okay? The only thing you can do, as far as I'm concerned, is accept it's going to be that way, because the hobby isn't going to change to comfort you. The only thing you can do is make sure you are the best player when you're playing people. And as soon as somebody gives you shit for the army that you're playing, stop them and say, listen man, I realise where that comes from. I totally realise where that comes from. I know a lot of people who play this army are pretty bad to play against. I'm not one of those guys, right? I'm here to give you a good game. So please refrain from, like, you know, digging my army out. Go on about the lore all you want, yeah, no problem, but, like, personal stuff and saying, you know, people who play the army or this, that, or the other, beyond the pale, I don't want to deal with it, please, you know? I just want to have a good time. Be an adult about it. Just be honest. and then make sure that that guy has a good game with you. That is the best thing to do. It's just to sidestep all of the negativity and the toxicity, and to say, look, I'm here to have a good game, man. And, you know, I understand a lot of the players who play this army have a bad rep. I'm not one of those guys, and I'll prove it to you in this game, right? That's all. That's all I have to say. Hopefully they take the bait and they go for it, and they say, okay, cool, let's play a good game. If they carry on, then just don't play them again. I understand that it sucks that you have people having a go at you through the hobby, but the hobby isn't going to acquiesce to your feelings, right? The real world doesn't care. It doesn't care at all, to be honest with you. I know it sucks. It does suck that people have a go at your army for something that isn't your fault. But the only way you can remedy that is by being a part of the good stuff, is by being one of the good guys and making sure that people have good games when they play you. If you do that, eventually it will turn around and you will form 4 or 5, 6, 7, or even 8, or even 8 to 10 opponents who are regular, who you know, and who don't have a go at your army because they know that you're one of the good guys. That's the only thing I can suggest, because life isn't just going to turn around and acquiesce to you. It's not going to. And the fact of the matter is, quite a lot of the people who play your army give your army a bad name. That's not your problem, but it's also not the problem of the people who are playing you either, right? It's not their issue either. And if they want to, like, preempt it by saying, listen, man, you know, and they want to, like, barb you for being toxic, correct them. And if they won't stop, don't play them again, okay? And if all of that doesn't work, then maybe it is time to either play a different army or walk away from the social side of the hobby, as you said. I don't want you to do that. I want you to take my advice and for it to get better. But if you are in a place or in an area where people are just so toxic that they won't leave you alone with it, then yeah, okay, move on to different things until you can get a better group together. I don't think it'll be that way, though. I think if you're honest and you say, look, man, I'm here to... and I know the reputation my army has. I'm not one of those guys. Please give me a chance. If you do that, I swear to you, 9 times out of 10, the other hobbyists will go, oh, no problem, mate. No problem. I didn't realise that. Sorry. I didn't realise that, you know, you put up with it a lot. Sorry about that. You know, they're still furries. But sorry about that, right? And of course you can say, yeah, well, you've played Girly Eldar or whatever, right? You can give it him back. As long as it's good-natured, it's fine. I think what the problem you're having is that it's quite close to the quick and it's not that good-natured. So, do what I did. I'll do what I said. See if that works and come back to me. Hopefully it does work. Anyway. Yabba says... Well, he's not called Yabba, but, you know, I've named him Yabba because it was part of his title. Anyway, Yabba says... Hello, Mr. North. Hello. I love listening to your videos when I'm in the car, and I have a short but good hobby nightmare for you. It's not quite your normal nightmare, more of a combination of bad planning and bad luck. Some quick background. I only have ever played with Warhammer 40K with close friends and family, so at times I have to wait a few months to be able to play a game, and lots of times we have 3 people who want to play, so we invented our own 3-way free-for-all game. They never work out, mate. They never work out. This is where most of these hobby nightmares start. Is 3-player free-for-alls. Every time I've played in one of these games, it's ended up in somebody getting bitchy. Somebody moaning, right? Free-for-all games, three-way free-for-all games don't really work. Even bigger free-for-all games don't really work. They just don't, mate. They just don't. If you've had a good free-for-all game, please put it in the comments down below, because I've never seen one. I've never heard of one, to be honest with you. This was back in 5th edition. This way our game the way our game works is there is one person who is the defender in the middle, and they have 50% more points than either attacker, but the attackers combined have more points than the defender. For example, the person in the middle would have 1,500 points, and each attacker has 1,000. Okay. The goal of the game is for the attacker to bring the relic that starts in the middle with the defender back to their side of the board, and the defender to prevent that from happening. Okay. On with the story. My brothers and I were looking forward to this game for about 4 months, and we all spent ages picking up the armies and talking about it. I was an attacker, and I played orcs. I've always been an orc player. I love the randomness of them, and that they are just good for a scrap, and don't care about anything else. That is pretty much how I play the game. I just like to cause lots of death and mayhem and don't really care about winning. My brother, who was the defender, was Chaos Space Marines, and my other brother, who was attacking, was Tyranids. Okay. That's a random game. Back in the 5th edition, the shock attack gun was an absolute beast at killing power armor, and it had lots of fun and interesting rules for when doubles are rolled. This is important for later. I was a big fan of putting my big mech with shock attack gun and lots of looters in a battle wagon to make a mobile shooting fortress. I set up my army with my battle wagon in the middle. I had another wagon next to it full to the brim with boys and other trucks and looted wagons near it, as well as 60 boys foot slogging it. The game starts and I roll to go first, and my army rushes forward with my mobile fortress. The very first shot I rolled was for my big mech, and well, I rolled double ones. And in this edition, double ones meant everything within D6 range got pulled into the warp. Well, I rolled a 6 for range, and a battle wagon, being what was within 6 inches, what was measured from it. I lost 95% of my army into the warp. The game was pretty much over after that. That's fucking amazing. That's so funny. Like, just this entire orc force just, oi, 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 just runs up the table, shoots one time, a vortex opened up, and they all get sucked into it. And there's like several orcs just standing around like, huh? Just looking around. I love it, man. I love it. That's why I love like things like orcs, man. Like they are one of the single best story-giving armies that I've ever come across. Alright, so I'm going to give Bloodraven a chance to redeem himself. Alright? If this next story is backslappy, as in, you know, I did this and I'm amazing, then, you know, I'm going to like pull back and say, right, okay, I'm calling bullshit. Let's jump in, shall we, to his second story. I was umming and ahhing about whether to do it, but I'm going to read it, right? So let's see. Alright, Bloodraven, now's your time. Let's do it. So he says, I bombarded your inbox with enough weird, over-the-top nightmares, so I thought I'd send you one that starts as a happy story and ends in the crushing of my 16-year-old self's dream. Okay, cool, alright. One day, I was sitting in Games Workshop painting models. I should instead say, squeezing between armpits, considering it was a Saturday and very busy. Every table was being played on, and every paint station was taken. It was awesome to see the store so busy. Sitting beside me painting were 2 large, cocky neckbeards. To be fair to them, their painting was close to second place Golden Demon level. Their models were amazing, but for some reason, they decided to talk down to me because I wasn't talking to anybody. I'm going to close that because I'm always getting messages when I'm actually recording. Despite me putting out a full blanket message to the WhatsApp group that I'm recording, they still send messages anyway. To be fair to them, I leave it on, by the way, just in case I get urgent news from my grandpa downstairs. Sitting beside me painting with 2 large, cocky neckbeards. Okay, they're very good painters. But for some reason, they decided to talk down to me because I wasn't talking to anybody at the table, when everyone else was being social. Referring to me, they said, I swear this guy never speaks. Ooh, so edgy. Yeah, you know, fuck neckbeards, man. I can't stand them. Most of them. As soon as I see one enter the place, my back goes up straight away. I'm like, okay, here we go. You know, it's going to be some sort of, oh, what army are you playing? Oh, really? Oh, that's so original. Like rolling their eyes, you know. Take your fedora. Take your overweight paunchiness. Take your leather jacket. Take your scraggy beard. Take your not working shower. And fuck off and get in the sea. I'm not really an introverted person, says Bloodraven. I just don't feel the need to talk to people all the time, and only talk if I actually have something to say. Well, as Marcus Aurelius says, the wise man speaks because he has something to say. The fool speaks because he has to say something, right? He took that from Plato, by the way. I know it's in Meditations, but he got that from Plato. Anyway. Maybe it's my high-functioning autism, but I just don't talk for the sake of noise. Anyway, As I finished painting my last model, 2 girls around my age walked into the store. I'm not going to lie, they were both hot as hell. Dude, if you end up dating these, I'm just going to call it there. We'll call them Kate and Rachel. The manager and sales assistant, Jack and Sam from the Chav story, were busy with sales, painting, tutorials and running a 40k campaign, and didn't notice these 2 girls enter the store, and so didn't greet them or try to pitch the hobby to them. I don't know why I read pinch there. I have no idea what came over me, but after seeing Jack and Sam were too busy, I got up, went over to the girls, and started pitching the hobby to them the way I always saw Jack, the manager, do it. I quite literally played the role of a Games Workshop salesman. Dude, like, you just... So you're not talking to the neckbeards because you're like, I don't talk unless I have something to say. And then you see 2 hot women come in and go, I now have something to say. And you get up and walk over. Okay, well, you know, if this is true and it's a believable story, kudos to you, man. Like, because you're a man after my own heart. I can remember the conversation as clear as water. So, I'll just quote it, but cut out the less important parts. Me. Hi, how are you girls doing? Have you ever heard of Warhammer? Brilliant. That's what I always say, you know, like... And any bar ever. And the bar people of Liverpool know my chat lines, man. That's one of them. Hey, how are you girls doing? Have you ever heard of Warhammer? Rachel. No, honestly, we have no idea what this is. They both giggled nervously, and Rachel kept darting her eyes at me and towards the floor. Ah. Me. Ah, no worries. If you want, I can talk you through what it's all about. Kate. Yeah, go on. Rachel, let him show you, she says as she nudges her friend towards me. Rachel. Sure, okay. I get really excited and proceed to explain the hobby to them. Do you know what, man? I think this is where autism is good for you, because you literally have no sense of fear what's going on. You're like, yeah, I'm going to show you the hobby, and get really enthused in it, and probably win her around. Anyway, me. So, we do 3 tabletop games. Warhammer 40k, which is a futuristic science fiction setting, where all races are at constant war. Warhammer Fantasy, which is classics, like Lord of the Rings, but with elves, knights and witches, based in a medieval world. I'm guessing you've seen the movies, Lord of the Rings. Rachel. Yeah, I love them. I already like elves, but I like the sound of the science fiction one more. Me. That's cool. I'm a 40k player myself. I then proceed to fist bumper. Okay. That's ballsy. Well, 40k has a race called the Eldar, and they're the equivalent of futuristic space elves. I'm not sure if this is allowed in the stores as a customer, but I then proceed to give them an intro game of 40k on the intro table that was free. I didn't mind if a trusted customer did that. If anybody did that, then I'd probably go over and well, I'd let them get on with it because I didn't want to spoil somebody's introduction to the hobby. But afterwards, I'd probably say, look, you know, I need to do that myself. You know, give them to me next time. Rachel ended up beating Kate and gave me a high five and a hug when she found out she won. They both decided they really liked the game, and I showed Rachel the Eldar models. Kate was more of a fan of the orcs, and I showed her some knobs. Yeah. Sure you did. I'm sure you did. Yes, they both laughed at the name. Jack was sitting by the till sipping a coffee after a long tutorial session. As he was doing this, I brought the girls over to the till, as they carried over £70 worth of models each. Rachel got the Eldar Battle Force and the Codex, and Kate got a few boxes of knobs, and turned to Rachel and said, "See, I'm still getting more knobs than you." Jack apologised for not greeting the girls earlier, to which Rachel replied and said it was okay, pointing to me, and said he showed us around and how to play, and I won. As they left, Rachel said goodbye and said she hoped she sees me around the store again, winked at me and went on her way. I then have one of the neckbeards come up to me asking how the fuck I managed to talk to a girl, to which I replied I just opened my mouth and formed words. This is where I got crushed. Jack turns to me and asks if I got them to buy all the stuff, and I said yes. Jack told me I'm a natural salesman and if I'd like a job. I absolutely lit up. My eyes widened and my jaw hit the floor. The idea of working at Games Workshop was a dream of mine. Still, in a way though, I've gone down a different career path that I'm not prepared to abandon, to be honest with you. I said, yes, absolutely. I can start right now if you've got any spare work. T-shirt in the back. You know, anything. Just let me work. Jack loved my enthusiasm and said, I love your enthusiasm, man. Oh, wait, how old are you? I told him I was 16. He then said it was a shame. The legal age for working in the store was 18, as he would have taken me up on my offer to start today. I felt absolutely crushed. This wasn't helped by the fact that when my face dropped, the neckbeard who walked over to me proceeded to laugh at me. I metaphorically slapped myself in the face when I got home also, when it hit me that Rachel might have been giving a few hints that she was interested in me. Then I didn't ask for a number. I never saw Rachel or Kate ever again. Oh man. If I was to work at Games Workshop, I'd likely want to take my specialty of economics and finance to work for the company's accounts and or financial reports. I keep looking on the job openings page on the website, but sadly, I'm yet to find an opening for something along those lines. Thanks for the content and keep up the good work. Man, that sucks. That sucks. But at least, you know, you didn't get a number and like, oh yeah, we went out after that and it was totally, you know, totally everything went my way. You know, at least, you know, I'll give you a pass on that one. I think that was a good one. So thank you very much for sending it in. My God, it has been an up and down day of Hobby Nightmares, I'll tell you that much now. Tomorrow we'll be going over some more lore, or because it's my birthday tomorrow, we may be doing some a hobby, shall we say, Q&A. So if you have any Q&A questions, please get them in, especially if you're on the Patreon. If you're on the Patreon, I do read them first, and you get early access to all of the videos as they come out. Love you all long time. I will speak to you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye.